Hej! I min hand håller jag en av marknadens absolut färskaste drivernyheter. Det handlar om Pings G30 driver. Det här är den 7:e modellen i den populära G-serien. Jag tänkte att vi ska ta en lite närmare titt på den här klubban. När vi tittar på den allra först så ser vi att den har fått en ny utformning av kronan med ett par skåror här längst fram. De här kallar Ping för turbulators. Och för att svara på vad det är så tänkte jag att vi lyssnar med Pings chefsdesigner Marty Jertson. So what is this and how did you come up with the idea of doing this?
Yeah, so the turbulators are features on the crown of the driver, real close to the lead edge. That was born out of a lot of research we have been doing just on how can we improve the aerodynamics of our drivers. So we have options. We could have made the head smaller, but that would sacrifice a lot of the forgiveness. So what the turbulators do, they help keep the airflow as you make your downswing and as the air approaches the club head. Normally what would happen on a driver with this geometry is the air would detach and create a wake, which would kind of act like a vacuum and pull the club backwards and kind of slow it down. So that what the turbulators do, they create a phenomena in the airflow that attaches the airflow, the stream of air, more closely to the crown, which reduces the drag coefficient. So much like people are used to seeing wind tunnels on cars and that airflow is attached to the car perfectly, that's what the turbulators do. They help keep the airflow attached so you get more clubhead speed.
So more clubhead speed, that sounds brilliant. But we've all seen the video with Bubba. He says he gains about 2 miles per hour in clubhead speed. What can all us average Joes look at here?
Yeah, well, Bubba, I was fortunate to be there when he hit those. We were all very impressed. He got over 2 miles an hour. Certainly he swings it really fast. The faster you swing it, the more you're going to get out of something with the aerodynamics. But for the everyday guy out there, we're seeing increases along the lines of about an average of 3/4 of a mile an hour to 1 mile an hour increase in clubhead speed, which will in turn into 1.5 to 2 miles an hour increases in ball speed over the already really high performing G25 driver.
And you spoke to me a bit before about how if you would want to achieve that kind of amount of increase in clubhead speed, how small would you have to make the club head if you wouldn't have like turbulators or any aerodynamic feature in it?
Yeah, so if we wanted to get those type of club head speed gains with the G25, we would have to shrink the head from 460 all the way down to 362 cc's. That'd be like taking a 20-year step backwards in driver design, is to make the head that small. So that's really the secret behind turbulators, and what makes them really cool is that we can get those club head speed gains of a 360cc driver, but still do it in this huge body that's the highest moment of inertia driver on the marketplace by quite a bit, which is the G30 here.
So speaking of moment of inertia, that has kind of been a key point in the G series, right?
Yeah.
If we compare it to the G25, what kind of leaps are we looking at here, or increases?
Yeah, so we've been able to increase the moment of inertia by 1% for heel and toe impacts and 2% for high and low impacts. Now that might not sound like a ton, but when you compare G25 to the industry, it was already 20 to 50% higher inertia than the rest of the drivers on the marketplace. So our strategic advantage in driver designs, placing that center of gravity really low and really far back, a lot of perimeter weighting in terms of moving a lot of mass away from that center of gravity, produces very stable launch conditions. So you hit it longer and straighter more often. And so we're excited to bring more speed and more stability at the same time on the G30.
And when you're speaking of this center of gravity, it's been kind of a debate in the industry right now. Some are moving it forward, some are moving it backward.
Yeah.
You kind of always stuck with the lower and back. Could you just explain how this affects spin and why you have chosen this way of doing it?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So what's, center of gravity, I think consumers out there and customers, golfers, they can only relate it to forward and back. And so I think one of the things that's quite often thought is that if you move the CG back, your driver's going to spin too much. Generally speaking, yes. If you move it back, it's going to spin a lot. But so you have to move it really low at the same time, and that's the secret of our G series drivers. They need to be low and back at the same time. And so our center of gravities on our G series and even our I series drivers are the lowest on the marketplace. So all the center of gravities that are more forward are also higher. Now you can get similar launch and spin characteristics out of a driver with the CG more forward. That's higher and more forward, but you're going to have a really big sacrifice in moment of inertia, so forgiveness, and then ball speed, because if the center of gravity is more forward, you have to play more loft. More loft, it produces a more glancing blow or more spin loft. It's kind of like hitting a soft shot in tennis. You add loft and hit down on it. You produce less speed, so the impact is more oblique. So our strategy, and it's not easy to do, and that's why not everyone does it, is to create a CG low back, hit more upward on the ball, get more ball speed, and by having the CG real low back, we get that low spin characteristic. It's going to help optimize, give you that high launch, low spin, high ball speed launch conditions.
Okej, då vet vi vad Ping vill åstadkomma med G30-driven. Frågan nu, det är ju, uppfyller den allt det här? Går den både längre och rakare? Det ska jag testa. Vad jag tyckte kan ni läsa här nedanför. Ni som är sugna på att pröva driven själva, ni kan hitta den i er lokala butik från och med början av augusti.